Yeah, that's right. The hands are still in the air. There's a little bit of correcting the steering to do, but much less than there was earlier, where there was a real popple on the water and a headwind. Now it's calm.
Yeah, and they clean up the start of both crews. Always good to see both coxless fours going off straight down the island.
Yeah, you always wonder with the coxless fours, of course, steered by one of the rowers. You can see just some of the steering gear there, just in front of the stroke man there in the London and Edinburgh boat. That's Matthew Curtis, looking out behind him and seeing hopefully them staying in the centre of their side of the course, moving away from the start along the island.
Yeah, it looks like Oxford Brookes here maybe got a slight lead as they're coming off the end of the island. You know, they obviously drive pretty hard, don't you, through the first 45 seconds to a minute, and then you've got to find something sustainable.
Yeah, it's about that thing, isn't it, about getting away smoothly, getting away fast. You kind of tend to sort of count those strokes, don't you, up to about 30, and then somewhere around that look to find that really long rhythm, and you can see it in this Oxford Brookes crew, just how long they're actually rowing, how far forwards they're coming, how far they're sliding, and then looking to get to connecting to find just a really nice rhythm somewhere around this point. We're about a minute into the race. Yeah,
they look very good when they're going off there into their rhythm. Here, London, Edinburgh University, still really attacking the stuff, probably not quite settling yet, but they don't want to lose contact at this point with the Brookes crew.
They won't want to lose contact, but I guess you can see it's just a little bit shorter. They're just not quite getting the same compression. The sort of the seat coming up to the heels, the shins aren't necessarily quite vertical, so it's not quite the same length, and they're looking to get to So I think it's just almost the size and the togetherness of the Brookes crew that's helping them move away here.
Yeah, and I guess some of the experience is showing. You know, London Edinburgh raced yesterday against Thames and Radley Mariners, and they won quite easily. But Brookes haven't raced yet because they're one of the seeded crews, so they'd have been a bit more nervous having not raced and coming into the regatta fresh. But actually, looks like their experience and just their natural pace actually just made it easier. And look, here they are looking really loose and long.
Yeah, the crew's been put together for Henley, but these Brookes athletes were part of the crews that came in first and second at the Met and Marlow Regatta, so they know they're some of their best athletes, and you can expect them to make a pretty strong challenge here for the visitors, as we'll see Oxford Brookes crews challenging right across the board here at Henley in 2021.
Yeah, here still rowing well, the crew, but like you said, they just haven't got quite the length and the power that the Brookes crew have. In the bow seat there, wearing his blue star, is Nathan O'Reilly, who has won the Prince Albert with Newcastle, but he's now 36 years of age, and he's done well to get this far in the regatta. Yeah,
no, a bit of a veteran, Nathan O'Reilly. He's a consultant, works in London, real character of the London Rowing Club, and a good character sitting in the bow seat of this boat. You see him making the calls, looking over his shoulder there, feeding back information, helping the rest of the crew to keep it going, and they're doing a great job of keeping it going. They're just up against very, very tough opposition.
Yeah, and it just shows you how hard it is, because like the three-man in the London Edinburgh crew are won here in 2016. The other guys have been under 23 GB internationals. They're good athletes, just not in their prime in the way the Brookes boys are. Yeah, also Brookes making it look quite easy now. They're settling down into something more relaxed.
Yeah, how do you think you deal with a race like this, Adrian, when you're in the Brookes boat? You're coming through Forley. What do you think's going on in the heads of both of these crews?
I think if you're in the Brookes boat, you will have respected the opposition, and the best way to do it is to go out as hard as you can and make the right race as easy for yourself as possible. But when you get in this position, the danger is to let the rate drop too low and it gets really heavy. And they're about 29-30 strokes a minute at the moment. That's kind of where you want to keep it.
Yeah, it's a good idea, I guess, to keep it up. You don't want to kind of have some sort of breakdown where someone thinks we should be having a paddle at 20, 24, and then the people in the bows think it should be at 30.
And they might think now, as they come into the last 400 or 500, if it's that far ahead, maybe they will just turn it into an actual paddle and they don't have to work. But if they're having to work still, don't let the rate drop too low.
And then what about the psychology in the London and Edinburgh boat? I can't help thinking there's a real sort of mental game now going on to think, you're coming past Remenham Club here. The supporters from London Rowing Club are still there. And it's been busier today, I thought, than I expected in Remenham Club. A real good Remenham roar for some of the races I saw coming past. And you can see at the bottom of the picture there, this crew is still going for it and hopefully still enjoying, I guess, as much as you can racing on the Henley course.
I think, they probably would have known that they couldn't beat Brookes, but they definitely want to go out and have their best row. They're going to be as aggressive as they possibly can and try and put them under pressure for as long as they could. And just, you know, they've trained all season. They want to do their best row. And you're right, the crowds. I've just been in the launch down the course, and the crowds are amazing down there. It's so good.
Yeah, so good to see, isn't it? As you say, the London and Edinburgh crew, they're still up at 37 strokes a minute, so they're still not, you know, they're not letting up. Like you say here, you can see it in this picture. A lot of people on the bank, a lot of people getting into a Friday night, and hopefully it'll be a very enjoyable Friday night in Henley.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's amazing, isn't it, looking at all the crews Brookes have got here competing. It's such a high standard. I don't know whether you saw on the lunch break today, the Brookes Grand 8 were out training, and they're all wearing Australian international one pieces. So as they came past in the lunch break, it looked like they were the Australian Olympic 8 with Brookes blades.
That's very funny. I did actually see the crew in the Australian all-in-ones, and I was thinking, hello, what's this? And I was suitably confused. So that was the Brookes crew. I wonder where they got all those from.
Yeah, actually there's enough internationals in the club that they can just put them all together. That must have been so much fun as a crew. The coaches had no idea. They just did it themselves and went out and pushed off.
That's pretty special, yeah. Because I did see them coming in, and I had to double take on the Brookes blades. I thought, okay, yeah, that's a bit of a statement.
So here we go again. We got London, Edinburgh University, still finishing off their race, being really aggressive, trying to get the most out of their race. They'll have trained all year for this, so they really want to do themselves proud all the way to the finish line. It's amazing. The conditions are beautiful on there right now. The light's amazing.
Conditions are good. The light's good. The water's so much nicer now, and you can see respectful launch motorboat driving as well, not putting any wash across the course, which is good to see as well.
And talking about respectful, Brookes staying in their lane, not moving into the middle and just washing them down. There's just no need for that. And it's not often you get to hear the crowd, is it, when you're paddling down the course, because you're always racing flat out. But here, Brookes can enjoy this a little bit.
Yeah, they can do. And actually, just an interesting little rowing thing. You see the clams there, that they've eased the gearing by putting those orange little buttons just in front of the gates.
Yeah, so normally they wouldn't be there. So by putting them in, you've made it easier for the rowers into the wind, because the wind was quite heavy when they boated, I guess.
Yeah, I guess they were ready to do that, to set themselves up to come down the course and put together this impressive race.
Yeah, and we come to the finish line here. We have Brookes University leading and winning against London and Edinburgh University in the heat of the Visitors' Challenge Cup. And the sportsmanship being showed by Brookes cheering on the Oxford and London.